how to put English on the basketball.
3, 2, 1. Good evening or afternoon, and welcome to another With the English pod with Sam and Glenn. We are doing episode number 3.5.
No, just 3.
Just 3, okay.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. So we've got a few games to go through. No more attempts at Spotify. I think we'll just stick with YouTube for now until we work out how to do it properly on Spotify. So, a few games to go through. My boys are obviously already through, so I can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the NBA playoffs because there have been some fantastic games over the last couple of nights. And I say fantastic drama, some unneeded drama, which you'll touch on because obviously it involves your team. But yeah, I like these playoffs. I like how everything's going, and I like the games being tight. So I want to start off on the West. Let's change it up because I think I've been starting with the East. Let's start with the West, Glenn. So you can go through and go through the West. And if you want, you could start with your boys. I'll be nice and not care.
I'm going to start with my boys.
Actually, to be fair, let's do it in game order. Let's do Sunday night first. So because we did this last video before Sunday night's games.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is obviously there's been quite a few nights and quite a lot of games, so I'll summarise the series rather than the games because there's been so much play and I've had some sleep since, so it's hard to remember everything. But I'll go with the Nuggets Timberwolves first because it's a pretty simple one. Obviously, the Nuggets are through to the semi-finals, which we all predicted they would come trumps over the Timberwolves. Timberwolves tried to make it a bit more entertaining with their one win. But yeah, foregone conclusion, 4-1. I think I can't really say who the standout players were, given I haven't watched their games. As I said previously, that I sort of wasn't keeping tabs on it because of the ease the Nuggets had. But just give a shout out to Anthony Edwards. I think he's a very young player. For me, he's going to be a superstar. Mm-hmm. He's probably one of the positives that comes out of the Timberwolves. I still think I'm not too sure with the future with having Kat and Rudy Gobert in the team. It hasn't really worked like they probably planned for this season. I think before the season started, they would have been targeting at least top 5. Mm-hmm. And also the Nuggets go through because they were their first seed the whole season, so it was just a foregone conclusion. And then I suppose that leads into their next opponent, the Suns. The Suns, I mean, the Suns Clippers series finishes 4-1, but I think that flatters the Suns, to be honest. They were all quite close games, and the Clippers won the first game with Kawhi involved. I don't know if you've seen the news, Sam, but it's just come out that he's got a knee injury of some description. I don't know if he's having surgery or not, but I don't feel sorry for the Clippers, obviously. I don't like the Clippers, especially where they were, clowning us all season, given how the season went. But I don't know what the future is for them at the moment. 3 years in a row? Paul George and Kawhi's been out injured in the playoffs.
Yeah, Paul George is, after his injury when he was the Pacers, you didn't think he was coming back from that, and he's done well to come back from it, but he's not shown up in LA, has he? So,
no, I mean, yeah, that roster of those two is so deep. It could really have a deep playoff run, but once Kawhi missed game 3 and 4, you sort of knew the writing was on the wall for them.
Yeah.
Again, massive shout out to Russell Westbrook. He did have a fantastic series. I make jokes how he finished the series with missed easy layups and turnovers, but end of the day, if it wasn't for him, the games would have been probably blowouts in 3 and 4. Again, I'm still not convinced with the Phoenix Suns. They've had some stand-up performances from KD And Booker, I just think they've only done the first series, and KD, Booker, and all their stars are playing 40 plus minutes in every game because of the lack of depth. How far is that going to get you in a deep run in the playoffs? I don't know. They might use more players this round, next round. They've got campaign coming back. But if you want to look at matchups, it's probably quite even. But I just think there's more depth with the Nuggets, and I think they might get this in 6. Obviously, home court advantage would be number 1 seed as well.
Wow.
But with how the playoffs have gone this year, you just never know, really.
No, you don't. You don't. I actually think the Suns will give a good run. I think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series. But yeah, I wouldn't want to call it right now. But I'm not as convinced as you. It'll definitely be Denver. Like I do see a chance for the Suns. But
the thing is, you can't. Obviously, Nuggets have got the team that have been together for a few more years. It's about time they made a deep playoff run. They've got the 2-time MVP. I think a lot of the American audience never rule out KD.
No.
I get he's a fantastic player, but they almost forget about the big European players because they want, I don't know, I feel like they want an American to be the MVP.
Well, apart from Denver, they're a very sensitive bunch when it comes to Joker, and you get a lot of Jokic fans saying stuff. But
yeah, but you're going to be, aren't you? He's,
yeah, if you're a homer like we are, we're homers, aren't we? So
we are, but also what story? Jokic gets drafted, 45th pick, and he's just, been a fantastic success story, and he could be a one franchise guy. So he's probably one of the biggest players for the Nuggets, and I look forward to that series. But yeah, I'm gonna go Nuggets in 6, but I'm sure I'm going to be wrong within 3 games.
No, I wouldn't dispute Nuggets in 6. Like I say, I see it going 6, but yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one with both teams with stars in the starting lineups. Like you say, it could be that the bench depth could be the difference. Could be the difference.
Should we head back over to the East?
We can. Not as cut and dry, really. I mean, the Sixers only team to go 4-0. Whoop, whoop. But you've had some tough games coming, or games that you thought would be tougher. I say tough games. I really thought Cavs and Knicks would be real close games, single digits. But that game on Sunday was pretty poor overall. I think, ended with a 9-point deficit, but there was the Cavs just went in that game, and obviously it was a friendly time for us. So I was dipping into it before we record, just after we recorded. Actually, we didn't really touch on it in the last one, but yeah, it was just poor for Cavs. I think the Knicks fans are overreacting now. 3-1 up. They're celebrating in the streets of New York like they've won the series. I always go on that sort of caution there because you don't want to overreact and think that you're through. I thought we were through when we played the Hawks, got the Hawks in the second round, and then Ben Simmons didn't want to dunk it. You've seen it before as well with other teams when they've assumed they're going through. But 3-1, the percentages are, and the analytics always say you're going to go and win. So I get why they're over celebrating, but
yeah, but I do love the Knicks fans over celebrating because I love when it goes wrong afterwards.
Yeah, of course. And I think with the Knicks, the thing is being a Philly guy like me, we or a semi-Philly guy like me, New York we're like the little sister or little brother to New York, whatever you want to call it. I say brother because it's a city of brotherly love, but New York in the prime, the prime New York. I say prime, they didn't win anything, but like in the 90s, they had that, with Ewing and stuff like that. They had the superstars, they had the limelight on them all the time. And then they had a mini sort of run with KP and Melo. It didn't really work out, but they have got young, average age team. Brunson, you forget, is like 27 or whatever. And he's done really well. He's come in and done really well, played well defensively. Him and Hart both both from Philadelphia area college. They went to Nova, so Nova's obviously produced 2 good players for them. Randall didn't play towards the end, so let's see how that goes later in the series.
I think before the
Knicks
season
do it.
started, I think before the season started, we was all laughing at how much New York were willing to pay Brunson, but money well spent, to be honest. And Dallas are probably kicking themselves.
Indeed, I thought it's because Daddy was working in the team, and I'm not saying he had a lot of pull, but it was like, yeah, my son can do well if I help you. I can make him go from an average NBA player to an all-star. That's how I kind of saw it being sold to. But yeah, no, fair play to him. He's done really well.
And how good has that Josh Hart addition been?
Exactly. Yeah, I think the fact that they both come through the same program, and Jay Wright's probably one of the best coaches of all time in college basketball. Obviously, Coach K and some of the others will get mentioned, but like a real hardcore hoops fan, especially from the Philadelphia area or surrounding area, will know Jay Wright's sort of approach. And these Kentucky kids. And I'm not dissing them. I'm not going to diss the one and dones. Maxi and Embiid are one and dones, and so are so many of the superstars that we love, and some didn't even go to college like LeBron and Kobe and stuff. But they make you do a couple of years. You're always getting 2 years at least out of Nova pro players, and they develop as they spend time there. And I think we could do a podcast on that later, I think down in the summer, about college players. So I think you benefit from having seasoned, experienced college players that have played in elite, because Villanova were an elite team. They're always making the Sweet 16, the elite, Elite 8 and Final Fours. They made plenty of appearances over the last 10, 15 years. So they've got that experience. I think that's really coming to sort of help with them. And that's probably the same with some of the European players. So, like Joker. And I hate Jokic because of the fact that he's gone up against Embiid for the MVP. But
I was going to say New York could be a potential conference finals opponent for you, but I think we got to give their team a lot of love. They're playing with a lot of heart and desire.
Yeah, they do, and I think they will take the series 4-1. The next series, which I didn't expect to be talking about still right now after last night, is the fact that the Hawks turn it around. I mean, Sunday night, I thought, okay, 3-1 up. This game's done. They're going to go for the kill in the Garden. See you later. Goodbye. You're going to Cancun.
Well, we clearly know nothing, because we both said Knicks, Cavs, close, tight series, Boston sweep the Hawks, and here we are, the Hawks clawing their way back into it, and possibly New York finishing the series.
Yeah, I can't believe. I mean, Trae Young came up big, and I think the main thing from last night's game, was that I think the Celtics lost their heads when Trae started coming back, and Trae didn't have a perfect ending. There was the wedgie, as they call it, from the people and watching like the starters, the wedgie, and then he also had a deep three that he missed, similar to what he had. The technical didn't help from Tatum, which I think was a bit petty, and I will.
It was petty. Petty.
I will always love to see a Celtics strong, but if that happened to me and my team, I would be very upset with that call. And it put them up, extra free throws, and then you're getting 3 points rather than 2. So yeah, I get that there was just things at the end that went wrong. So I still think they'll take care of it. They didn't, maybe take away that point. Maybe a bit better with the defensive approach to it. Just approach Trace. He will shoot from the logo, and he's not Steph Curry, or he's not gonna always make those deep threes, but he makes them often enough that you have to consider going out to him. And I think Brown said that he would have gone out closer to him maybe next time. So let's see if he does do that. Maybe
it's funny you mentioned Steph Curry, because I read an interesting stat earlier on Twitter. Don't quote me on the exact numbers for Trae Young. I think he was roughly 5 for 10 with clutch shots in the last 50 seconds. Steph Curry is 0 for 12.
Oh, I did not know that. I'll give Trey that.
So
He's an annoying chap, but when he's
it
good,
takes balls to go take the last shot
it
when you're
does
3-1 down the series in the Garden. Like
indeed. But yeah,
maybe it's
so
just
I
Gardens because Boston Garden and Madison Square Garden.
yeah, it could be
Maybe
that
he
could
just
be
likes
his
playing
he
in the
owns
Garden.
he likes playing it with the guy. Yeah, could be. But yeah, I still expect the Celtics to take it. For me, as a Sixers fan, it would be ideal if it goes Game 7, less rest.
Yes, yeah.
So neither team wants. Obviously the Hawks need they need a Game 7. But I don't think they know if they get a Game 7. Game 1 is a bit of a write off for whoever wins
So
if it does go to
when does your second round start?
Monday.
And
So
do you think Doc Rivers? Yeah.
well, yeah, you can call it. Yeah, because Dr. J's let himself down, so you can call Glenn.
Do you think he's watching tape on Boston or both at the
I think they're
moment?
watching every game and just looking for the weaknesses. You look there at some of the, Maxi can take that shot that Trey took. You could, was it Williams that had a late bucket? Horford, I think, didn't really do too much, but like Embiid certainly can boll it. I think against the Hawks, we're just far too. There's no one on that team that can defend Harden and Maxi, and there's no one that can. They've got some big men that can do okay against Embiid, but Embiid's still going to eat. Whereas the Celtics have got Brown, Smart, Tatum, who are obviously Smart's the elite one, whereas the other two are a bit more sort of okay defenders, not great but not elite. So that's all they've got to do. All the Celtics got to do is just be a bit better defensively, and they'll win that game.
Take it
not
seriously. Close out. Even Atlanta didn't think it would come this far when they booked Janet Jackson.
Yes.
For tomorrow night
Wow.
at State Farm Arena.
Yeah, I do like that joke, but then the serious side of me is like I don't know the full ins and outs, but I know like the Sixers don't own their stadium. They Comcast used to own it, and it used to be owned by the Flyers, and they would book concerts and things at certain times. So I don't know if it's owned by the Hawks ownership group, and then they've gone, yeah, we'll book Janet in and go for it. But yeah, because they would have, you never know who's in charge of, and there might be a minority stakeholder, so they don't get a full say because the cities normally play for these buildings as well, so it could be city owned. So you never know. Like the Sixers' new building they're looking to do is being funded by private money, whereas the original Spectrum was built by public money. So yeah, and I think LA obviously own theirs. I think they own their one, but the crypto arena. But yeah, it's a tough one when you've got revenue you can make when you book probably in January. Can I get Janet Jackson as a sellout concert, or do I rely on the fact that my basketball team will make it to the NBA semi-finals or NBA Eastern Conference Finals? So when do I book concerts in? Do I assume they're going to be a first round exit? But yeah, you don't know. But like they should, if it is owned by them, they're stupid. So I'll have to find that out for next time.
Yeah.
I like it sometimes when we talk a bit about LA. So do you want to go to LA? As in,
can I get Kings out of the way? Because
you want to
I've
get
got a
Kings
bit.
out of the way? Oh,
Well, I've got a bit to say. I'm going to touch on
Kings
Kings because I've got a
Warriors.
bit to say about my Lakers, obviously. So,
okay.
Kings and Warriors is a simple summarise. Like the series has been, amazing. Funnily enough, I actually fell asleep during Game 4. I was pretty tired because I wish I didn't, because these games have been just fast and so action packed. It's no surprise that both teams held home court. I keep saying it's going to go 7 games. I think the side is going to be back at Sacramento, although Darren Fox has got a hand injury, so that might, change his game a little bit. Does he use his other hand? Does it affect his shot, his form? But I think if Sacramento win tonight, it'll go 7, like I said, and I think the Warriors win Game 7 purely based on their experience and being that deep into the playoffs. But we all want it to be 7 games because the games have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so 7 games, Warriors take that one.
Yeah, I
Now,
won't disagree with you on that.
Lakers, Grizzly. Don't get me wrong, they haven't been the most entertaining games if you're a neutral. But for a Lakers fan, they have been chef's kiss, honestly. Where do I start, really? I think, well, at the end of the day, from where we've come from to where we are now, you know, if you include the playoffs and the play in the regular seasons, I keep repeating it, since the trade deadline, we've now got the best record in the NBA. So this team is clicking, right?
Okay.
We've got LeBron, we've got AD, they're healthy. I said, last week, you can't rule that out. And even game 2, we didn't play our best game. We were still winning the game the whole way through. Game 2 and 3, I know you'll disagree with me, but the Lakers crowd were so loud. I know you've got some analytics that suggest otherwise, but I'd rather
No,
go
it was
for my
more on the
ears.
attendance side of it, but yeah, they are loud. But it's easy when you're loud when you're winning.
It is, but I think maybe there's a bit more noise in the building because of what we've seen for most of the season. Where this team are really clicking, everyone's just behind them. You can tell, the guys are really stuck together and can see what the ceiling is. I think the funniest thing out of the series is Dylan Brooks. To talk all that talk in game 2. You just said it's easy when you're winning, isn't it? And he comes out talking when they win game 2, and game 3, game 4, you don't want to talk to the media. And then he makes out that he's been made out to be a villain. But mate, you want to talk after a few games and call out LeBron and he's old, don't respect him until you drop 40 and the rest of it. You just got to own it. You got to take the L and just own it and say, look, we lost this game. They played better.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost a show of this Memphis team are quite young. And probably not emotionally there like our players might be. So yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster, and there's been some great moments with LeBron's. It had to be LeBron versus Brooks. I don't know if you saw the drive to the bucket in overtime.
Yeah.
He gets shown to his left, which is not his, favored side. Goes up against Dylan and knocks it in and one. It's like the perfect setup. Perfect movie.
I think if you call out the best player of our generation, you're asking for media attention, so then you're going to become the bad guy. And I don't know how true it was. Like you've seen the little clips of what LeBron said to him or whatever, but yeah,
it would be interesting to see. That was a weird interaction, wasn't it? Because it doesn't look friendly, but it doesn't look bad at the same time.
No, exactly. So it's definitely the talk of. It's made it the talk of the playoffs. I don't think because of the fan base that you have with the Lakers, that the most popular teams in the 80s were the Lakers, the Sixers, and the Celtics, and then the 90s, the Bulls came along because of Michael Jordan. And I think those 4 franchises, along with New York, those 5 cities have got major media markets. They're the top 5 media market cities, and if one of those has got a bit of drama going on, then you're gonna get it. And I think the fact that the best player of our generation is in one of the biggest cities in the world for sports media, and then there's a guy that's calling him out. It's gone from a series that you wouldn't really care too much about as a neutral too much to I really want to watch this because I want to see if LeBron's going to go on.
We even had Desmond Bain calling out Rui after game 1 about one game, try and do it again. But most players in this roster have had their moment in the series. Rui's had his moment. Rui's had his moment. And shout out to D'Angelo Russell the other night for the momentum was swinging. Memphis were on a run, and the building was going a bit quiet. And then Russell hits back to back threes. The whole momentum changes. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he did really well that night. Really well. Sorry.
don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna predict how this series ends because I'll just jinx the Lakers. But let's just say I'm a happy Laker fan. Can't wait for tonight's game. We can move back to the East, or I'll rant for an hour. So
Yeah, I will end by saying when you're 3-1 up, the analytics are in your favour. So
I know, but you never know. You never know.
no, it's true. It's a weird playoff year, but it's good because we got to chat about it. So, with the East, so last thing to really touch on will be I'm just having a look over there now.
Well, we're saying I just said you never know, but come on, Heat 3-1 up against Bucks.
Exactly, and when you look at what Butler did, it obviously upsets me and many other Sixers fans. But you look at what Butler did and how he just kind of stood up and he joked in this presser saying that he doesn't do anything different in the playoffs. It's like, yeah, you do, don't lie. You're not going to say that though. But he completely just kind of took over the game. No hero means that he's got to take those shots and be a hero, like what I did there. So
Yes,
you haven't got someone else shooting the three, and I would trust Butler a lot from seeing him play, in person. I'm lucky I've seen him play in person and on obviously TV. You do trust him. You do definitely trust him with the shot. He comes up big and he's very good defensively. So he's been great. And then one player again who I've seen live and loved. He was only 19 though. Was Drew, and Drew Holiday and Middleton just didn't. They went big and it worked. And I remember Spolster saying about it, and we said about it in the last episode. But what's happened is the Bucks have stayed big, but the Heat have somehow worked out a way where their smaller players are playing better. So the most points for the Bucks came from Giannis, obviously, and Lopez. Like, why is Middleton and Holiday had plenty of shots? He had quite a poor shooting night, but Holiday and Middleton should be getting. Middleton only had like 12 shots or something. It's like he should be having more, and Drew should be making his. It was a strange one, and Giannis didn't look 100%, but he still got triple double. But it's a strange. It is a very strange. I think Giannis isn't 100%, and Butler's just stepped up. So I think it's gonna. I think
Are you worried for the Bucks?
yeah, 100%. Like I think it's gonna. Giannis is not healthy, so even if they get through, which I can't see them winning 3 games without an issue, like popping up, like someone's going to pipe up. I thought it was a bigger miss for Herrero being off because I thought he's a struggle. But then actually, when you think about it, like Butler's now going to be a primary. So yeah, Bucks will lose this. I think, unfortunately for them.
Wow,
It's mad
big,
to think how
big
Miami
call.
lost Hawks and yeah.
Yeah, we need to put some more respect on the Heat and Hawks, don't we?
We do. So, future second round opponents. What do you think? So, very quickly.
Oh yeah, so obviously I've already done Suns and
Suns and Nuggets.
Nuggets, but if we all want to see LeBron versus Steph in a series,
yeah,
that would
is
be
that what you're
my.
going to go with then? You've kind of already predicted that. So is that what you're going to? Apart from the Lakers.
No. Maybe
You've said
Memphis.
Huh?
Maybe Memphis play the Warriors.
No. Well, you've said the Warriors are going through. So let's be honest. If you're 3-1 up, you got to assume the Lakers are going through.
If we do go through, it would be interesting. We did beat the Warriors 3-1 in the regular season. I am aware it's totally different in the playoffs, but it would be a very interesting series. We would have to step it up offensively because I think the reason why we've done so well in this series is because of the Grizzlies' offense and our defense. We haven't really had game 1 was good offensively, but we haven't really had a standout offensive night. We've just been a bit fortunate that the Grizzlies shooting hasn't been great, but the Warriors will play either the Grizzlies or the Lakers.
Well done. I'm glad you. Yeah. I think Celtics Sixers, and like I said, I think he will play Knicks. So it'll be interesting how the TV schedule goes for that and how our sleep patterns go. So that's it from the games.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a few mentions. You got Paolo Banchero gets Rookie Player of the Season.
Deserved.
I didn't see a lot of him, but I thought he's very good, obviously, and he was a stand-up player for the Magic, but Magic are a poor team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the numbers for Keegan Murray, but he's been playing a lot for a team that finished third in the West. And he didn't even get nominated. He wasn't even in the last three.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the nomination process with the right, sometimes the writers are a bit homers and stuff like that, and some people don't get the recognition that they deserve. However, I do think Rookie of the Year was a fair one. Me, Magic probably played really. They probably played a lot better once they got Fultz and other people sort of healthy, and it just allowed Pablo just to be a bit more as the big guy, do a bit.
Did you
more,
also know he was the worst? I know it's not all about 3-pointers, obviously, but he was the worst in the whole league. The worst.
But he's not there to do that, though.
I know. I'm just saying. I just feel like you can't be the worst of something and be the best of something.
Yeah, well, for me, that's
in
got
an
to
award
be
sense.
that's got to be the third. You're small forward. You're 1, 2, 3. You're 4 and 5s. I don't think. I know the game's changed. Maybe I'm a bit old school, but your 4 and 5 shouldn't have to be decent 3-point shooters. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
I am. For context purposes, I am sort of relating it to today's game, where
Mhm.
everyone seems to be able to shoot threes. It seems in this league,
Yes.
at least against the Lakers, anyway. Everyone turns up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think it. Okay, congratulations. He maybe deserves it, but it was almost like it was a no-brainer, and I don't believe it was a no-brainer.
No, agreed. Any other news you want to go through?
The other award was most improved player. Simple. Laurie Markkinen, done. Yep, agree with that. I'll even say well deserved over Austin Reeves.
I thought Brunson, but oh yeah, it's fine. I thought he deserved it.
Yeah, but I think Brunson was a top player last year. Just maybe a bit overshadowed by Luka.
Yeah. Dallas isn't a big. It is a big sports city, but it's the Dallas Cowgirls, not the Dallas Mavericks. That gets the attention.
And what I'll finish on is are you sad about James Harden joining Ime Udoka to Houston strip clubs?
That's not happening, but he might do that in the off season. They obviously love their women, rightly or wrongly.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, rightly or wrongly, with coaching when you're a head coach. It's a little bit different to when you're a player, in my opinion. I think you've seen it in the NFL. We've seen it here in England with one of our ex-managers, Alan Pardew, when he was manager. Yeah, I think when you're a manager, it's a little bit different. You need to have more responsibility, especially if you're married, no matter who you are and any walk of life.
I think all jokes aside, and obviously all the drama behind it, I think it's a good addition for Houston. Add a few vets, and it'd be really interesting to see where he can take that team next year.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, hopefully Harden doesn't go, but if he does, he does. But yeah, it's an interesting view of how Houston. It's an interesting viewpoint if you're an owner of the Rockets, because you lost your GM, your legendary GM. You haven't got anyone like a superstar right now. You've got some good young players, and then you brought in one of the best coaches. So yeah, interesting. We will end on that, yes, for sure. Especially because it was a bad joke by you. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed. It's gone over. We're trying to do these in like 25, 30 minutes. It's just impossible with so much going on. So
there's so much to talk about, Sam.
There is. So hopefully next one will be a bit shorter. But yeah,
we'll
if you stay to the end, you're a legend.
And let's finish on hoping the Lakers win tonight and steal the series.
Yes, indeed. I want the Lakers to go through because it'll be funny watching you moan about it when you lose in 4 against the Warriors.
Yeah, probably.
Bye-bye, everyone.